Alrighty. This is the final game of day 4 before the lunch break at the 2026 Scrabble Players Championship in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm Josh Sokol here with the analyst of all analysts, Kenji Matsumoto, to call this game. Joey Krafchick on the left, Mack Meller on the right. Both of these guys, probably the two favorites in terms of incoming rating to make it to the finals of this championship. Every year, this is the most important tournament on the schedule for them. Let's see if Joey Krafchick can take down the top player in North America, Mack Meller. PNTTNIW. It's not a great way to do that, but probably something like Twin is going to come down very, very quickly for Joey Krafchick.
I would have to think about that.
Yeah. You could exchange as well. There's other things to consider, but considering is not really in Joey Krafchick's vocabulary. 90%.
PWN also is definitely worth thinking about. Or wait, that's
Yeah.
never mind.
Definitely. Keeping
Okay.
keeping TI and
Yeah.
was worth considering. Super defensive option.
I
To the dictionary. ANPTWY blank is the redraw, though, for Joey Krafchick. That's a fantastic way to improve. And Mack, on the other hand, with 7 1-point tiles, nothing great on this rack for him. He's one letter off of a 7 or 8 letter word. He's considering EAU and Twine. What are you thinking here, Kenji?
I mean, I really would want to keep the A. Like, the A is a really, really important tile here.
Maybe actually, no, he's probably considering EAU and EW, AI, and UN.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely what he's considering. Joey having waypoints lined up. I don't know. Like I think Mack knows that this is often going to be 3 consonants, like pretty much exactly what Joey has. There's a lot that you can kind of like you can determine from this kind of rack. Like he doesn't have an A. He does go with EAU. This is the most defensive play. Joey could also have like a lot of bingo racks. Like he could have an S very easily here.
EAU coming down. Decent lead of LENT, a little bit heavy on the consonants. Let's see if Mack Meller can find a vowel or two on his redraw. And waypoint getting blocked by a nice defensive move.
Yeah.
You have the Y for Twiney. Can't really use it great. You could play yaw, yawn, yop. Yes, that's pretty good to play yop here.
Yop's pretty good. WYN is pretty good. Joey not taking any time with this decision again.
Oh. Interesting. He saw yop and he wants to play yawn instead. This is a very, very aggressive adjustment. 2-point sacrifice, worse leave. The thought is, I want to play through that N next turn. Is that what Joey Krafchick is thinking here?
I don't know what he's thinking. Definitely a non-standard decision. I gotta be honest, I don't really like it very much, but it's a very small sacrifice. And he has his reasons. And as long as you have a good reason for what you're doing, then what you're doing, you're not going to lose too many games as long as you have good reasons for all of the plays that you're making. Mack with the Q, and this is a pretty rough situation here. Putting QL to the side. If you're in an exchange, often when you have one dominant floater like this, you often don't want to keep the floater. This may be an exception, though. I'm not really sure. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't think Mack's all that worried about what Joey Krafchick has. He played Twin quickly, which means consonants, like you said. He played yawn relatively quickly, which probably also means consonants. I don't think Mack has any idea how strong Joey's leave was after yawn. So in terms of that thinking, I'm not super concerned with trying at all costs to get rid of my N and try to play through the N of yawn. You have the lanes to the left of EAU. You can hook onto UN, you can hook onto EW. It's not great, but toner is just such a better leave for 7-letter words than anything else here.
Yeah.
He might also exchange the O, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but maybe to try and balance a little bit better between racks that don't score anything and don't bingo, and maybe racks that can draw a scoring tile and do something. But I think Toner is just good enough to keep. I just don't see him getting off of this and playing something like Turn, TERN, to the left of EAU. Yes, if you draw an I, you get QI down, but the leaf is just so awful. So I think this is a good decision.
Toner is one of those infamous racks where it's lead variations where it's very weird because Toner is actually like the O actually doesn't go particularly well with the lead. So like normally it would be a slam dunk, but if you think about it, like an I draw and an A draw in in this lexicon doesn't do particularly well. So it actually is very close. Joey not even thinking about it again, playing J, keeping CIPTT.
He's going for pittance, among other things, through the N of Yawn, and just trying to close the door on the bottom left of the board. He's drawn an S, but yeah, he's playing wickedly fast, and I think this might be sort of a shadow from the last matchup we saw them, where Joey was just totally dominating Mack on the clock, and Mack ended up panicking late in the game, maybe missing out on some winning chances. So Joey, I think, going very hard on this strategy of time rushing.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Joey a bit about this. Like, Joey's main edge in Scrabble is going to be time rushing people. Mac is generally, though, not somebody you want to be time rushing. Mac plays a ton of speed games and is probably one of, not probably, like, definitely one of the best speed games in the tournament, speed players in the tournament. If we had like a 3 or 5 minute format, Mac would definitely be at least in the top 5. So, I get the strategy, and Joey isn't somebody who is going to be thinking about like super technical things all the time, but it's still worth taking some clock and thinking about your decisions a little bit.
Joey finding tip cats, which will fit in 2 spots. And Mac finding the very difficult and hard to even reason into existence Norteño through the N of Yawn, hitting 2 double word scores for 28, keeping the lone X. You can't really be loving leaving that leave.
Yeah.
Tongue twister. But I think this is better than a shorter play with the X, opening up space, opening up spots for Joey to bingo. This makes sense.
You could also play Junto or something like that. There were options there as well. But I think Mac is aware of what Joey's doing and is wanting to not think about these decisions, too complicated. I also think that Mac probably doesn't necessarily want to get into this like hyper defensive battle with Joey because Joey likes to try to do that sort of thing. And Mac is generally not somebody who at least goes out of his way to do that. But since he knows that Joey's trying to create these sorts of more tactical decisions, he's not going to be super eager to play some sort of, Junto closed boardy counterplay type of game. Maybe that's not in his decision making at all. I don't know.
9 points between the 2 top seeds in this tournament. Joey Krafchick on turn with a blank, about to bingo with tip cats. That blank is an A. He's going to play it with Norteños. This makes perfect sense. You could also play it with SEW, opening a triple, opening a bunch of lanes. No reason to do that. He can't love this. Play from the C is very likely to reopen space on the bottom. So his whole potential idea with Jun last turn is not really going to materialize, but he's taking an 80-point lead on a board that's really hard to do much about. And if he can keep scoring, he's going to be in great position here. 3 eyes KMVO, though. Very interesting draw. And over to Mac with a draw of his own. He drew into ABELOR with that X. Saw him play Peg Box earlier this tournament, so the first thing you want to look for is a box word with a rack like this. Boxla is valid, but Borax looks like a fantastic way to score points on top of the TI of tip cats. And I think once he sees that, he'll be debating that versus Coxa or Cokes from the C.
Also, there's other play. I mean, there's Boxla to the right of Norteños. There's Taxol to the T in Norteños. So there is actually a fair number of choices here. It's not, he can also just play box to the, to the right of Norteños as well, or something like Lax. Lots of calcs is an option as well. Keeping a little bit more of a balance lead. There's lots and lots of options here for Mac. Um, I do think that stylistically, I think he's more likely to go with Borax. It probably is the you know most normal choice in this position per se. You're also help. Ellie actually works pretty well with that as well. But I could see a number of plays being made here.
Yeah, you're totally right, actually. A lot of the plays you thought of, I think Max doing the same process in his head, just naming out those candidate moves. I think Boxla just a little bit too open, box to the right of NO opens too big of a scoring spot, so you can kind of just say no to those. But Taxel, Coax, Coxa, Calx, Borax, that's what's happening in Mack Meller's mind. And he's just decided to play Borax, play 5 tiles, score as much as he can, not open that much, stab a little bit, open a little bit on the left side of the board for potential board opening plays later. This makes the most sense to me. I think it's the nice medium between, what are they talking about? Sorry, I got distracted.
This is the rack where I'd like to see Joe play immediately. I don't see any other options besides Vim at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I heard the overhead mic there, but something about play of tip cats. But yeah, Borax makes sense. Mac redrawing the queue, unfortunately for him. And Vim coming down for 26. Joey Krafchick at 150 after a few moves. Mack Meller probably going to play QI. Ooh, never mind. There we go. CINQ, one of the harder words to find. 45 points. That's great for him. Narrowing the gap to 20 points. Let's see what Joey Krafchick draws. If he gets an A, he gets Tycho from the T of Norteños. Other draws.
He already has the K on the right of ink as well, which shows like oik at the very least with his leave. So he knew his rack would be at least kind of balanced. There's the A for Tycho though.
Will Joey Krafchick make a big board opening play like Tycho? We've seen him balk on those opportunities before in similar positions, not opening things for his opponent to immediately bingo through.
The K is just good here. There's obviously the K just drops for 31, so he actually may hold on to it because the K is always going to be like decent. But you need a reason to do it. I think it's just Tycho most likely, yeah.
He hates making plays like this in most cases, so we could see a big sacrifice playing OIK and Ink for 21 instead of 30. So
I don't think
he's reasoning through it. It's a play you don't like to make, but a play you probably want to make in the end.
I could see him actually making something like Robinia before I could see him actually doing that. But I think he's just going to, he just plays Tycho.
There it is. Some round scores, 130, 150, 180.
Yeah.
Mack Meller with some round letters, 2 O's, 3 E's, an L, and an M.
I think Oenomel is going to come down pretty quickly.
So Oenomel through the N of Sank, setting up 2 triples. The price of dumping as many tiles as possible. Joey Krafchick, I can't say his name anymore, can I? Joey Krafchick, drawing into a relatively balanced rack. And Mac has spotted Oenomel. Very good find. Very weird word. Off the beaten path, but we expect this from him. His play finding is so good. After this play, I guess Joey is going to want to play long. Unless he has some word we're not seeing. Me or Kenji would have called it out by now. If you can play to the left of Oenomel for a 6-tile play, like if Barton were a word, that would be nice. But maybe we'll see him play instead to the right. But the more I look at it, the more I'm wondering what 5-letter words will fit after Oenomel.
Not a lot. Nothing with the B that I see, which is obviously first priority. You might just play something like Rabin instead.
Rabin, wow, through the B and Borax, blowing the board open. That would be very, very interesting. Trank being blocked. That doesn't quite fit with OA anymore. Maybe we're going to see a shorter move. Playing Bin through the Eye of Tycho, keeping AINRT. We still have that sevens lane off to the top of the board going down to hook onto EW. Have the O of Tycho, which works very well with the leave of train. Are we going to see a fishing play here, Kenji? As Mack draws a huge blank rack. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's Epilogue, which we just were talking about not too long ago. I don't think. I mean, I think that fishing would be a fine play. I don't think that Joey's going to do it. Just having seen Joey play lots and lots, it's a very committal play where if it doesn't work, it loses very, very quickly. I think it is a decent option here, though.
Assessing the score line here, when you're up by 33, sort of that in between purgatory situation where you don't know if you want to keep scoring and try to outrun bingos. You don't know if you want to play defense, try to block bingos, or go aggressive yourself and try to go far ahead, too far for your opponent to catch you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to play defense. I think let's rule that out. The EW spot is going to stay there for a very long time. No one's going to want to play there. Killing that quadrant's not even possible. The right
Joey,
side's going to open a while.
Joey could just play noob there, any WB.
Yeah, but like that's a lane that's good for him. Like, that's a lot better for him than it is for a random rack from Mac. I don't think he's going to do that. I think I would actually prefer playing Bin over playing Noob in reality.
So Brant is the first thing Joey Krafchick lines up.
Yeah,
after taking his longest think of the game. This is a very reasonable play, very stable decision, solid play for 22. Keeping an I and an N. Not many I's to redraw, not many N's to redraw. A lot of E's to draw, a blank and S out there. He has great chances of big scoring plays on one of those two triples ONML just opened. And let's see what he gets. HIINSVD.
Yeah.
Wow.
So normally I would say, oh, Epilogue is a hard find. I think there's almost no chance Mac misses this. I think there's almost no chance. And he has it set up immediately. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, Epilogue through the O of Borax, of course. Through the O of Tycho would hit nothing. You have to take the 13 extra points here. The other playable bingo right now is Peg-like. We saw Mac play Peg Box against Joey Krafchick yesterday. He certainly knows the word Peg-like. Plays with EEW. That's 67, opens a big triple. There's really no benefit to that over playing Epilogue through the O of Borax. He's just going to consider the other lines on the board, the B that was just opened, potential 9-letter words. We know Mac loves his 9-letter words, plays more of them than anybody, maybe more of them than everybody else combined in the division. Is that a crazy stat to just throw out there?
It is going to be interesting to see if when Epilogue comes down, Epilogue takes a D. I don't know if Joey knows that. He may not need to. We'll get to it when he gets played, but does. I mean, it's not going to matter too much, but you know, at this level, little tiny things like that do make the difference. Like, these are two very evenly matched players. I mean, they're the top two seeds in the division, and this is very, very high stakes. So I imagine I don't really know that well the relative word knowledge of like nines of these players, but
well, Joey Krafchick has stated multiple times that he's going through all of the nines, and once he's finished doing that, he is switching to the international lexicon. Hard to know what that means. Epilogue coming down for 74 points. Mack Meller taking the lead 221 to 202. That's the second blank. There's still a couple of good things out there. The Z, the S. Lots of things to draw for Mack Meller. Joey Krafchick, is he going to play Dish with epilogues? I don't think, like you said, it doesn't really matter.
Well, SIDH, or he could play Vid. Like, those are. I mean, Sid is just strictly better than Dish. I mean, it's 1 point better,
Yeah,
but it is
congratulations.
1 point better.
Yeah. This is
And
improvement. So I guess we'll see if Joey Krafchick knows this takes a D by his decision here. Vid is just very nice, though. It's 33, 15 points less than SIDH, but the leave so much more palatable. And he's lined up Dish, so maybe unsure of Epilogue, maybe not seeing SIDH, a very bizarre 5-letter word.
I mean, even if you're even if you're like 3% unsure of epilogue tier, like or SIDH for that matter, like you can't play it. Like 1 point is 1 point is very unlikely to make the difference. It does sometimes. I mean, in some ways, the difference between players is an accumulation of errors that are like 1 point at a time, 2 points at a time. You know, a very slight leave measurement here, a slightly. These things do add up. Especially at this level, because you're not going to see very many mistakes, like flat out, like big mistakes at this level. At level, this quality of play.
Let's talk about Max Draw, though. Awful 3 Ds, 1 vowel. With a lot of good stuff remaining. He's looking at playing Dad underneath the IKO of Tycho. That cannot feel good to make that
It might
play.
be to the right of epilogue.
Could also be there. That would be a point sacrifice, a 4-point sacrifice. Wherever he plays Dad, his leave isn't great. He's losing the game, and he can't feel great about his position. Joey Krafchick threatening to play Vibing in 5 seconds after whatever Mack Meller does. So the clock times are somewhat stable for both players. About 2/3 of the game gone. Mack Meller under 12 minutes. Ideally, again, for close game situations, you want 10 or so minutes for the pre-end game. That means when there are 7 or fewer tiles left in the bag, you want to have that time to consider your options and make as many nuanced decisions as you can make. But in each game we've seen between Joey and Mack, time pressure has been there, and Mack hasn't had exactly as much time as he would like. In this particular case, I'm not too worried, though.
I'm a little worried. This could get pretty computationally heavy. I could very easily see an end game or pre-end game situation where Mack could run out of time here, where things could get very complicated.
Does also depend how long he takes on this decision. He's been just totally sat there with this play of Dad lined up. He's very dissatisfied with it, of course. But what else is there? I think a lot of the time we watch his YouTube videos, he sees the play he ends up making within 2 seconds. But for a while, he's just deliberating. Is this okay? Is this better? Is there something better here? This looks fine. If you draw an O, you get HOT on the top for 30, but Vibing coming down immediately.
Well, he gets Toph if he draws an O, but yeah.
Lots of good stuff for Mack Meller to potentially draw, but lots of bad stuff. 3 U's, 2 F's. Lots of consonants. He needs a vowel or 2 here. Vibing coming down immediately. Joey Krafchick up 50. There's an E, an O, and wow, the F. Frothed. What a draw for Mack Meller. This was huge. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, the opposite draw for Joey.
Disaster. How the tables have turned. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Huge swing.
I would say 93 points out of HDRT.
I would have said after Dad that Joey was probably about 80-20, and now I would say that Mack is about 85-15 in literally like one draw swing.
I would say it's worse than that. There's just no space left on this board. Mack Meller's up 50. Joey Krafchick basically either has to score 35 with his F and keep awful things here and make it close, or play Ague through the G of Vibing. He just plays FA immediately.
Yeah.
Just trying to, I guess, sway Mack away from the fact that his leave is the worst 5 tiles you can imagine, other than the third U.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind this. There's still some outrunning chances. It does mean that you can't exchange, which is a bit of a problem. But I mean, things like Ague mean that he can probably get rid of tiles.
Look at this. Clergy leaving one tile in the bag, making YEH. That is
Yeah.
just so easy. Mack's going to play this once he realizes there's 7 tiles left. There's just nothing to think about. And
Yeah.
this will be game over. There's no way back for Joey Krafchick. Unbelievable swing here. Mack Meller going to take Joey down after, like you said, just 2 turns ago, a really rough position for him.
Yeah.
He's so deliberate. He's just like, oh, this looks fantastic. Maybe I play this with YEW?
I mean, you can think just things to think about. You can think about Eggy, for example. Eggy's not bad. I mean, Eggy probably wins pretty close to the same amount. I don't. If you want to be technical about this, you can think about this for quite a while.
But look at what's unseen to Mac. Okay, this is what he's doing. He's thinking about what bingos can Joey Krafchick have here that will be a problem. And
I
they're
don't
all
see.
going to be with EEW or SEW. But is there a single word that fits on this board? This is why he's taking time. This is why he is number one. He's just making sure.
I mean, there are words, but there are not very many of them, and they probably don't even win in a lot of cases. Like, yeah, he could have release or something like that. I mean, that isn't out.
Solve this, yeah. Like you can literally just solve this right
Yeah.
now. If you do some calculations, clergy is
Oriole is
41.
another one.
Clergy is 41, making YEH. If something like release happens, Oriole happens, those both score 66. So 41 plus 11 is 52, 66, 14. What happens if Joey draws the Z? Is there a spot for the Z? You can literally calculate every draw
Yeah.
that's possible. And will Mac have enough after all of these? Probably.
I mean, it's comparing this to Eggy because Eggy, these same scenarios happen, and Eggy after things like Oriole and release also outruns almost everything. So actually, this is really close.
The one problem I have with this play of Eggy, though, is what if Joey doesn't bingo? What if he takes one more turn to try and open something else up on the left side of the board?
Like
It's a
what?
bit worrisome. Like what? Yes, that's the question you ask yourself. But it's something to not really want to consider and calculate. It looks like Mac just going ahead and playing this. This is a better play for spread, that's for sure. I
Yeah,
think.
Mac needs spread. Let's not forget about that. Mac needs to spread to compete with with Joey Malik, like, and to some degree Evan, but mostly Joey Malik. That has to be on the front of one of the first thoughts on Mac's mind. This juncture of the tournament, you need to be thinking about how does this impact everything, and spread matters a lot here, especially considering Joey's outs are so rare. And he can bingo with this some of the time. Some of the time he just draws something that plays with the SEW himself.
Mac looking at this draw of USZ and being like, what? Wow. Okay. I think I'm out of the woods here. If Joey doesn't have this S or the Z, I guess Mac was somewhat worried about plays like a gaze in the top right. That makes Eggy even stronger. I guess Mac's just like, all right, well, you can't have anything now. Oriole, I guess, still possible.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And Joey just gonna play EAU here, knowing it's just probably game over. Just trying.
I would like to see him think. Like, there are chances from his perspective that he could set up something so that he could draw Oriole in one spot and Rouleau in another spot, and then like leave a tile in the bag. And
he's drawn it. Wow. He has drawn Oriole. That is incredible. From Mac's perspective, there's a 3 in 8 chance he has it.
yeah.
So as long as the tracking's good, you have to block Oriole. If Mac does that, he wins this game. I think after this draw, Joey being wondering like, oh, should I have thought about this?
You should have. But I think you may end up in the same spot. I don't know. I think it was worth thinking about, though, for sure. He has so much time, too.
Joey,
yeah.
the body language is one of somebody trying to hide a little bit. potentially, from what's in front of him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also might be hearing things, but yeah. Matt's, thinking, just taking all of his time thinking about what if he draws an E himself too. He wants to think about whether he can, how to maximize spread, how to get some value out of this Z. Yeah, he could play something like Cause, but that doesn't feel, all that good here. I can't imagine he's not going to block Royal. Like that would be just something else. He has CZ lined up. I mean, that's the easy automatic way of just taking care of this. Even if you don't see Oriole, that is the line you want to be taking care of for sure.
And he for sure sees it. Yeah, this shuts the door on Joey Krafchick's unlikely comeback. And, he's going to draw the E and be like, wow, you had it. There we go. And, Joey with 15 minutes to do absolutely nothing in this endgame.
Yeah, he has a spread. He has a tie, so his spread doesn't matter at all. So Joey doesn't care. Joey might just play something to play something. He might just play Rupee and say, "Oh, this is 21 points. I don't even care if I have an out with Aloe or Olia. Let me just score and get rid of this. Something else equally quick, refuel or something that just looks good on points and leave. A foul. One of those is probably the best play."
Yeah. So mention Mack Meller wearing his own merch. I've also seen that a few people in this room, in the playing room, wearing the same shirt, the Mack Meller shirt. If you don't know, Mack Meller is the most, I guess, he's not the biggest content creator in all of Scrabble, but he is the most consistent with his uploads. If you go on YouTube, you can subscribe to his YouTube channel and watch a bunch of different series he plays online with friends, with engines, sometimes some extra content about things happening in the Scrabble world in his universe. Definitely worth going to look at if you don't know about it. Lots of Mack Meller fans all around the world, especially in the United States and in this very playing room. Joey Krafchick is considered. And in chat, yes. During just playing hell.
Yeah, this is a I don't care. Rupee is obviously a lot better in the same spot. There's obviously the other plays too, refuel and earful and yeah.
I think he's just doing this to like confuse Mac and just get him thinking like, what's going on? Did I miss track? Saw a little bit of a grin there for Joey when Mac reacted to this play. They played each other so many times.
Yeah. You get these players are the biggest adjusters either. Like Mac and Joey both don't particularly like thinking about what the other person's doing. So they're not like trying to make like some sort of like meta anything going on here.
Also, careful. Could we consider the play of Repel collusion? Just like we know that Joey doesn't need the spread, but he also wants to be in the finals with Mac. He said it multiple times. So there's a funny little thought of like, oh, I'm just going to give you a lot more in this endgame than you would have gotten if I made the best play. And you need the spread and I don't. Could be a little bit of friendship going on here.
Okay.
Of course, no accusations, no real accusations of that from my front.
I mean, Mac is going to take all of his time to calculate the endgame here. I mean, we probably should because Mac is going to. Because Mac cares about the spread a lot. But it's kind of weird when you know that you're like when you see Repel, you kind of know your opponent doesn't. So like Mac's not doing anything. Like, Mac should be thinking about, okay, like, where, what's my best out in two here? Yeah.
What is his best out in two?
I actually don't know.
He has slews or slurs on the bottom right for 24. Is it worth trying to block Joey's best options with his 4 vowels? What does he have? O for 12, OE for
Tau.
14, Tau for 16. Yeah, it can't be worth trying to block that, can it? I mean,
No.
anything's possible. It's a Scrabble endgame. Scrabble endgames are really, really, really hard. Kenji and I have had our disagreements on that front over the years. But this one should be somewhat simple. How do I score the
Well,
most?
slur and ES is not simple. If that's what he's thinking about doing, and I think that's what he's thinking about doing. And
Well, what about
that's...
Cuzzes? Cuzzes first.
No, because slurs and ES would then. Oh, but yeah, you could play causes and then he's gonna play slur. Okay, I
Yeah,
see.
this actually does block TAU, so forget what I said. And can Joey Krafchick do anything about slur on the bottom right? I don't think so. I think he's just
Even
can't.
if he could, I don't think he's
Paralyzed.
going to. I
Yeah,
don't think he can though.
a very nice find by Mack Meller in the end game. Probably, I can't imagine anything better than this. Blocking Joey's best play, setting up an unblockable high-scoring play of his own. OE for 14 coming down, and slur for 19. The final play will be propelling Mack Meller potentially into third place. After this win, we'll see what happens in the other rounds. Of course, Joey Krafchick's such a fast player. Most of the time when his games are finished, many other games remain. Let's listen to the overhead mic.
367.
Yep, your game.
Yeah, you too, man. That's that pool was something at the end. Yeah, this actually kept HDRT, but the pool was so vowel heavy. I'm like really likely to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way I wasn't gonna block Oriole, obviously.
Yeah,
Does that block not take a D?
I think it does.
Okay.
But yeah, that was enough more points.
Okay. No, I mean SIDH.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it.
I don't think
was,
it takes an R though, right?
I was pretty sure. I was pretty sure it took a D, but just in
Yeah,
case,
just a D and
I
S,
just
okay.
I left it just cause.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair.
I could also play Vid, leaving Shin, but it was like 11 more points, so it's.
Yeah, in that closer game, that's close. With all the
Yeah,
U's left and
when
stuff.
I dropped the
don't know.
J, I picked up an S actually,
Oh, really? Okay.
but I had a decent amount of draws. Obviously with A, R.
Right.
I almost gaslit myself into thinking it was just tip cards and I was making it up, but they are both words.
No, yeah, they're both good. Yeah, I checked the Q when I traded through to trade QL keeping toner.
Right, right.
And then Norteno actually kept an X, which I don't know. I thought about playing Oxo or something, but at that point, didn't seem worth it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, I had a couple of very key draws. Yeah, after this pulling the blank and then hidden after Dad. Yeah, I'm glad I hesitated here because I almost I had CLRS.
Yeah.
I almost slapped down Clergy, but I think that I'm vulnerable to like drawing all the U's and stuff, and I actually bingo a lot after this just because my
You saw the Agaze possibility?
yeah, and that yes, that there was also that.
Yeah, I would have bothered. I would have put FE over FA to keep 2 A's, but I figured you'd quickly see that's the only way I could win. Is,
Yeah, no, that's
I
that
guess
was
I
the
could
other big
bingo
reason
there,
I did that. Right, yeah. I figured if you after Reggie, if you bingo there, I mean you're going to draw like all vowels and I'll just win.
74 difference?
Yes.
All right. I entered.
Okay, I'll do the same.
So
You're definitely still in it.
Hell yeah.
definitely still in it, but hanging on the edge of the knife now is Joey Krafchick after suffering a loss. 8.5 is his loss record now. He probably needs to win all 3 games in the afternoon to make it to the finals. Things are getting very, very, very spicy at the top of the 2026 Scrabble Players Championship. Hello again, Josh Sokol here with Kenji Matsumoto. Kenji, it is lunchtime, which also means this is farewell to you.
Yep. Good luck to the players for the rest of the tournament. I will probably be watching at least tomorrow, if not some today. And yeah, this was a great time and happy that I was here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Your thought processes are so interesting, and I hope everybody watching has learned something from your analyses. And if you haven't learned enough, Kenji does have a website, breakingthegame.net. Or is it .com?
No, it's .net.
Good. I remember Kenji has written Scrabble books on strategy, some for beginners, some for intermediates and experts. So feel free to check those out if you are interested in becoming better at Scrabble. They are well worth the read. They have my full approval. In any case, 3 games left after lunch. We will be back in around just under 2 hours, I believe, for the next 3 games. And each and every game is going to be more important than the last one. At the end of 3, we will crown 2 finalists for the best of 5 finale tomorrow. Coming on to commentary after this, after lunch, will be best friend, Will Anderson, our favorite Scrabble player. He has really spread Scrabble across the globe with this content. It's great to have him on the mic. You're my best friend too, Kenji. I shouldn't have said that. In any case, we'll leave you with that. Big games coming to you after lunch. Some results coming in. Mack Meller wins. Joey Malik wins. He's still a game ahead of everyone else. Ori Swift still playing against Nigel Peltier, last year's champion, who is out. He cannot make the finals anymore. Rafi Stern in the mix, David Pearl in the mix, Jason Lee in the mix. We'll have those pairings for you very soon after the lunch break, and we'll have a great game for you. So don't go too far, but we'll be back in around 2 hours for round 25, 26, 27, and 28, crowning the 2 finalists. Thanks for watching. See you in just a couple.